Okay, so I'm going to do a video here from a viewer request. So this one's from Howda. I hope I said that right. Thanks so much for putting this forward. It's an interesting one. It's a cute one. It's regarding whether INTJs are, or how we are in both romantic and platonic relationships. So immediately when I heard or saw this, I was drawn to the fact of, the differentiation about the two, romantic and platonic. Obviously, they're very much different. However, I find for myself in INTJ, sorry, my dogs may pop up in this, he's right here, that for myself in INTJ relationships, it's interesting on that component. I would say for myself, the only thing that truly differentiates is whether or not I actually want to make out with that person or have that, in other terms, just have that type of chemistry that is, something that is that indecipherable piece that comes with deciding to, date a person. I know for myself that in my platonic relationships, the ones that are true, tight relationships, we almost make fun of them. And I'll speak to some of my girl relationships, but it happens with, well, maybe not as much with guy relationships, but with girl relationships especially, we joke about how we end up going out on an entire date night because we want to catch up, we want to spend time together, we're totally interested in learning each other's, or catching everyone up to speed and what's happening. And it's fun. We try and find something that's, one-on-one. Usually we go out for a restaurant and what does that sound like? And then maybe go for drinks later. It usually looks like you're on a date. But it's just more that closeness and intimacy that comes with that, those rare times that we get to have really deep connections with our people that we've chosen to build into our inner circle and family. And there's such a huge amount of respect and care within that relationship. And I'd like to tie that over actually into the romantic side of relationships. I think there's a lot of bridges gapped between the two because a lot of relationships, at least for myself, are based on respect and intelligence. So both sides, platonic and romantic, for myself, need to have those components in place. If they don't, it doesn't usually last long, either as a friend or as a romantic partner. So as I was saying, say with one of my, some of my good girlfriends, if we go out and we're spending all night one-on-one, hanging out, catching up, laughing, talking serious, talking business, talking just about the things that interest us and what's important to us at that time, it actually segues into the way that my husband and I go and have our dates. I would actually argue, because I am with my spouse more than other people, like the platonic friends, we tend to have more business-like dates, and I'd love to hear other people's opinions on this, more business-like dates than non-business-like dates. Usually, for our situation, when we get a chance to go out on a date, that means we don't have children crawling all over us or decisions needing to be made regarding the house or, other responsibilities. And what we usually gravitate to is just talking about our aspirations, where we want to go, what we're seeing and what we're dealing with at the time with regards to business. And I find that we actually have to really make a concerted effort to bring it back into something that is more on the relational side. So one thing that I did that just kind of came out of nowhere was when I noticed that we were getting into quite a bit of conversation regarding mostly business type of discussions and not necessarily something that's more on the intimate romantic side, was I brought up what are the 5 things that immediately come to your mind as a characteristic of either person. So we had to go and write it down. I'm a dork, so I had sticky notes in my purse, and we wrote it down, and then we sat there and discussed. I mean, that's really romantic, discussing, but that's the way we are. The 5 points that we brought up. What was really neat, though, was that it really spoke to reaffirming how we felt about each other. So you get a lot of that inference about, yeah, we're in that relationship. There's certain bonds there, but you forget about the articulating of what is kind of keeping you together, what is interesting. And it's not necessarily the same maybe as for other personality types. And I'd love to hear this, because we don't necessarily love the mushy side of things all the time. This is something that is, this sounds really clinical, but it's more the constructive side, the more the respect side. So it's showing those key features that that other person finds of value in its counterpart. And I went and dorked out and bought little frames, and I put those broken down, wrinkled Post-it notes into the frames, and each of us have one of them on our desk. So when we feel that we're, wondering how we're going to move through, say, an issue, and we're slogging away at our desks, we're able to go and look at that broken down Post-it note and understand, okay, that person sees that in me. Sometimes I don't see that in myself. And maybe that's my level of romanticism. So I think that's actually an interesting kind of way to end this quick video. Is we may not have that overt romanticism, but we have admiration and respect for people that we care about. And we want to ensure that they do hear it at times, because we aren't always great at it. And maybe some of the people that we do end up with kind of share the same issues with demonstrative shows of affection. And these are the little ways that get that across. So I guess at the end of the day, romantic, we actually do that for each other. In platonic, yeah, it can be very similar to a romantic date, but you aren't sharing that indescribable piece that actually brings 2 people together and decide to go and live in a home together or spend time together way more than you would with any close friend, because lots of us with INTJ profiles, we don't spend a ton of one-on-one time with our friends on a daily basis. So anyways, I'd love to hear what you guys think. Love to hear what other personality typology folks think about this in response to their experience. And as always, love to hear your comments. And if you have any video requests, put them in the comment section. Thanks so much.